It started with the low, guttural rumble of engines, a sound that made heads turn, but for Emily Carter it was just background noise. She stood patiently at the crosswalk, her white cane tapping lightly against the curb. Emily had been blind since birth, but she never let that stop her from living independently. The pedestrian light beeped, signaling it was safe to cross. She took a step forward just as the roar of motorcycles swelled. Tires screeched, laughter echoed. "Hey, lady, watch where you're going," one of them sneered, his voice filled with mockery. Emily hesitated. Though she couldn't see them, she felt the vibrations of the engines circling her like sharks. The wind from their revving bikes brushed against her, a deliberate act of intimidation. "What's the matter? Can't see?" Another taunted, his words dripping with cruel amusement. She clenched her jaw, gripping her cane tighter. She had faced ignorance before, but something about this moment felt different, more dangerous. Fear crept into her chest, but she refused to let it take hold. Emily squared her shoulders, ready to push forward. Then, out of nowhere, a voice cut through the noise like a blade. "That's enough." The bikers turned to see a towering figure approaching, a man with broad shoulders and a quiet intensity in his eyes. He stepped between Emily and the motorcyclists, his stance unwavering. "Who the hell are you?" one of them spat, revving his engine aggressively. The man didn't flinch. "Someone who doesn't tolerate cowards picking on someone who can't fight back." His voice was calm, yet there was an undeniable edge to it, a warning wrapped in steel. Emily recognized his voice. It was Jake, a veteran she often met at the local coffee shop. He had always been kind, and she had sensed the quiet strength in him. One of the bikers smirked. "Oh, yeah? And what are you going to do about it?" Jake tilted his head slightly. "You really want to find out?" The challenge hung in the air like a loaded gun. The leader of the pack scoffed but didn't move. His fingers twitched on the throttle, debating. Then, as if the universe had its own sense of justice, the wail of a siren pierced through the tension. A police cruiser pulled up, its lights flashing red and blue. An officer stepped out, his gaze immediately locking onto the scene. "We got a report about reckless driving and harassment," he announced, eyes scanning the bikers. "License and registration. Now." The gang's bravado crumbled in an instant. One of them tried to argue, but the officer wasn't having it. "I saw the whole thing," Jake added, arms crossed. "And so did the traffic cameras." The realization dawned on the bikers like a slap to the face. Muttering curses under their breath, they complied. Emily turned toward Jake, her voice steady. "Thank you," he gave a small chuckle. "Didn't do much. You were handling yourself just fine." Emily smiled. "You did more than you know." The officer finished writing citations. "You boys better hope the judge goes easy on you. Harassing a blind pedestrian? That's a special kind of low." As the bikers were forced to walk their motorcycles to the impound lot, Jake extended his arm. "Let's get you across the street." Emily took his elbow, stepping forward confidently. The world might have its share of bullies, but it also had people like Jake, and that made all the difference.